Used to sing "Hog for You, Baby."
Hog for You, Baby.
Cross coasters. What else? What did I sing? I used to do a little singing.
Twist and Shout by the Isley Brothers. And oh man, I tell you, there was a slew of them. But
You know, Harry Batchelor was really the lead singer.
that's right. Jimi didn't sing much. Larry liked the impressions. He did impression songs. They laughed at my singing, so I never sang. But the songs of that time period, and they came out really good. People liked us and enjoyed what we're doing. And I think subconsciously they knew that there was some magic going on whenever we played. They knew that was special.
Main venue was one end of the Delma Rocket to the other. That's about all right when we first started. Just four nights, four or five
Four or
nights,
five
something
nights a
like.
week. And
That was the main venue.
then Fisher got the group together and went out on the road. Now the Chitlin circuit consists of maybe about
Jackson, Tennessee,
100 to 200 miles outside of Nashville.
Island.
And these joints, they call it the chitlin circuit because that's what they served in these little joints: fish and chitlins and chicken and barbecue ribs, and that's it. But more so, people love the chitlins, and with that comes chitlins and coleslaw. And these little places, people verge in. They probably, for instance, a place called Tullahoma, Tennessee. It's maybe 65 miles out of Nashville, but that was the only club. So people within a 40 or 50 mile radius would come and verge on this one venue, and man, they had the time of their lives. And we were treated like big time celebrities, because at that time there was no cable TV.
We were from Nashville.
We were from Nashville, the capital of Tennessee, and man, we were in hog heaven. You know, the girls would come out, and, in their finery, and man, I tell you, that was a good time. Good time. We were stationed at Fort Campbell, Jimi and I. Then when we got discharged, real close together, went to Clarksville, starved to death, but we worked. Then went to Indianapolis, starved to death, and then came back to Clarksville. And then these guys from Nashville want us to come to Nashville, so we gave the guy a 2-week notice, went to Nashville. Then we met Larry Lee. He was a student at Tennessee State University. And immediately, bang, we found a friend. Jimi found a friend, I found a friend. Well, we just gelled, because we were about the same age, played music, loved our guitars, and, we had a good time. And that's how we wound up in Nashville.
Well, I know Jimi didn't have any idea he was going to be that big, so it wasn't much to say. It was a surprise, I guess, to everybody.
Well, it didn't happen in one spurt. He went out on the road. The first person he went out with was Gorgeous George. And when Gorgeous George, he said, well, come down. There's this guy talking about take me out on the road. So there was a place in Nashville called the Hippodrome, where they brought all Jackie Wilson and all the tours. And at that time, Gorgeous George was the MC and valet, like for Jackie Wilson. So Jimi had talked to him earlier that day, so we went back for the show. And I didn't, George was all right, but he didn't, I'm looking for some security here, Jimi's looking for, just getting away and moving toward stardom. Because he knew, I think intuitively, he knew he was going to be good. He was going to be great, but the object here was to be discovered. So I said, I don't like the way you guys talking. I like him, he's a good person, but I don't think I want to go. So Jimi went. And he stayed out about, 3 weeks. Next thing you know, I get this phone call. Hey, man, I'm stranded. At that time, to ride a bus was $20, $30. So I wired him some money. He came back to Nashville. Well, that was one stint. Then he went back out with various people. He did this 5, 6, 7 different times, I think. He'd come back and enjoy it for about 5 or 6 months. Then he'd go back out again. So I think intuitively, he knew that eventually he was destined for stardom. And that last time, he just left. And then the last phone call I received from him saying that this guy has discovered me in New York. He's going to send me to Europe and make me a star. I told him about you. And I said, look, Jimi, I said, I'm playing with this group. I got 3 strings on my bass. The 4th one's tied in a square knot, and I'm renting Ant from Mr. and Mrs. Ray. Remember Ray? Raymond Ray. I said, I can't get to New York. He said, okay, I'll make it and I'll send it for you. And that's the last I heard from him for about 2.5, 3 years. we had a camaraderie, and we just enjoyed each other. And Jimmy loved Larry because he'd be down the dumps, and Larry come around and talk about something stupid, altogether different, and then we just crack up, just fall out the fucking. He always saw the humor in everything. And that's why we liked him, because he never stayed down. Sometimes we say, "Oh, shoot," and he come with something stupid, and we just fall out. So we like to be around Larry, because he kind of, got us out of our little depression sometimes.
Jimmy used to always say, "When I get famous," he would always use that word "when." So I guess he did really expect something, but we were making $11 a night, and he was still saying, "When I get famous." So he had some kind of insight, It wasn't an if. He said, "When I get famous, I'm going to have 1,000 guitars." You remember he was talking about that, man? Yeah.
So he knew it. He knew it.
Yeah, he did know it. He really knew it, but he didn't carry it on, but except in that one sentence, "when," and that's about much as he mentioned it, I kept up with him. I had an Ebony magazine. They had about 3 or 4 page layout on Jimmy, and I kept that with me. I knew he was a man. I just didn't know he would remember me, man. Even though we were friends, when people get money, I just wonder, when I was in Vietnam fighting, I said, I wonder how Jimmy acted if I saw him now, But he was the same Jimmy, unchanging. I didn't get discharged early. I took a head wound, maybe about a ½ inch over my temple. If they said if it had been a ½ inch down, I would have been gone. But I got off line behind that wound, but I still stayed in Vietnam, and I started working for the service club where they could rent out the pool tables and guitars, and they had a talent show, and I entered that, and we won the talent show, and I went to Saigon, and they put a group together, and we started touring all over Vietnam.
I'll track him down. And,
he sure did. One ring.
One ring. I said, "Larry," "Look at him, man. My boy's made it, and he wants you to come." He said, "Not me." I said, Yeah, Larry, you're part of what we're all about." He said, "Okay." So Larry called him. Next thing you know, man, we're all 3 together up at Woodstock with the house, man. We had time of our life. We were reliving our youth, because we bought a BB gun. We set up bottles and stuff, and we played. So we were just friends together. And that's what it's all about. And then making music on top of that, oh man, we were in whole heaven. So that's what music is all about, I think. Because even if you look back at the jazz greats, look at Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Ray Brown, and all those guys hung together. They became a part of each other's lives. Then they became a part of, but first they were a part of the music. And when you got those masters together they partied at each other's house, they told jokes, they had good times. When they got together musically, man, you could hear it all in the music. They were all friends, plus all that came out in the music. No one tried to be louder than the other one. No one tried to overplay the other one. They were just putting this beautiful music together. And that's what we did when we got together. It was just beautiful, good music put together.
The only thing Jim and I did, he told me to ride in this Stingray. He had a little silver Stingray, and we rode down Broadway, a few little spots. He scared the hell out of me in that car, and I never got back in there with him no more. No, that was my last ride in this Stingray. That Jimmy cut, man, he didn't jive. He liked to fly down the street.
He was the one that was blessed. We knew that God had singled him out and touched him more so, and given him a little more than the average. Even in, we look at his makeup mentally. He knew things that guys his age didn't talk about, didn't mention, but he had that. We didn't bother to ask him where he got it from, because we knew where it came from. It came from the Creator gave it to him. And he had this special aura about him that made him an individual and different from everybody else. When he walked into a room, everybody knew that guy was somebody. He was special. Whether he had on fancy clothes or just a pair of blue jeans. And there are certain people that have that type of aura.